stinks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, this is Review Wednesdays, and today's movie that I'm reviewing is Bill and Ted Face the Music. Oh man, I have been looking ever since I heard that this was announced. This is a movie that has been in development for years. The last movie came out 25 years ago. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey came out 25 years ago, 1992. 92? 91? It came out 25 years ago. No, it wasn't 95. So it was over 20. So this particular film takes place 25 years later. So, I mean, do the math. It's not consistent, whatever. And I think even therein lies a little inconsistency. They don't stay true to some of the things that have happened in the first film and some of the things that happened in the second film. I mean, yes, they incorporate all of like the fun elements and like some of the characters that you remember from previous films. I think it's safe to say this is going to be the last film in the Bill and Ted franchise. It is also my personal opinion that this is the worst film in the Bill and Ted franchise. Up until I saw the movie. Even in the first few frames, as the film was starting, as it was getting its story going, I could not be more excited to watch this film. In fact, yesterday a question was posed to me, Mike, what are your top 10 most anticipated films still coming out in 2020 with all the delays and all, everything else? What are your most anticipated films that are still coming out in 2020? Bill and Ted Face the Music would have been in my top 3. And then I watched the film and it didn't even make the top 10. I mean, I already watched it, so it's no longer an anticipated film. I don't think I liked it. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. I don't think that I liked this film. It wasn't a train wreck. It's not a terrible movie. I just think that there are some specific things. So the basic storyline, if you've seen Bill and Ted 1, they are failing history, and in order to some time travelers come back in time from the future, and they say, hey, you guys are the chosen ones. Eventually you are going to write a song that will unite the universe and make everything fall into harmony. Okay, cool. But in order to do that, they had to pass their history class. So now they go through a journey through time, and they pull all these historians and not historians, but historical figures to the present day, to San Dimas, California. They put on a big rock concert. It was great. They passed history. Great. Moving on. Second movie, there's some villains from the future who want to stop Bill and Ted from creating the song. So he hatches a plan to make Bill and Ted robots that look just like them. They go back in time. They kill Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted have this whole journey that goes through hell, eventually takes them to heaven, and they escape the afterlife, come back into their bodies with the help of Death, the Grim Reaper. Brilliantly portrayed by William Sadler. And then, of course, they build other robots to fight the evil robots, and then they save the day, and everything's great and wonderful, and they move on with their lives. Bill and Ted Face the Music. The premise is that it's 25 years later. They've been told for all of these years, you are the chosen ones. You are the ones that will create this song that will unite the universe, everything, it'll put everything into harmony, perfect balance, blah, 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 whatever. You are the chosen ones. Now it's 25 years later and they still haven't written the song. And the song needs to happen in, I think it was 77 minutes. They had 77 minutes to write the song and to play the song, and they had no idea what to do. So of course they go on, another time travel journey, and they decide to go to the future and steal the song from themselves. It's an interesting I love the overall concept of how do you deal with the fact that you have been told for years, I dare I say decades, well, I guess it was decades, you've been told for decades that you are the chosen ones, that you will bring balance to the universe, and you still haven't accomplished your mission? That's a great idea to start off with. I think that was a brilliant premise. The way the movie plays out, and no spoilers. This is all the stuff that's in the trailers. They go and they meet other versions of themselves, either in primarily in the future, like other future versions of themselves, and that gambit gets played out really quickly. It adds nothing to the story. They play it off as plot, but essentially it's spinning their wheels and it's wasting time, and there's no character development in any of those scenes. It doesn't advance the story at all. It's just, hey, let's go here. Okay, great. Now let's go here. Okay, great. Now let's go here. Okay, great. Now let's go here. Okay, great. And it's the same thing. Again, every scene is a carbon copy of itself, but with a different kind of, hey, we're Bill and Ted in prison. Hey, we're Bill and Ted, the English rock stars. Hey, we're Bill and Ted from, 40 years in the future, dying on our deathbeds. I really wanted to love this film. And there are aspects of it that, I actually really do kind of like. But there are some things that I genuinely don't care for. So let's kind of start breaking things down a little bit for you, okay? And let's talk about acting. The acting in the movie universally was not great. I did not care for really anybody's acting. And I wanted to. Keanu Reeves did not do a great job. He's reprising a role that he's played twice before. This should be easy, right? I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. Bill S. Preston Esquire, played by Alex Winter. He was probably the best actor in the film. Sort of surprising. Sam Weaving, who is the niece of Hugo Weaving from, Lord of the Rings and The Matrix and all that. Sam Weaving, she was fine. She was okay. She was playing Alex Winter's daughter. I can't quite remember the name of the girl that was playing Keanu Reeves' daughter, Thea. I don't quite remember her name, but her performance was a little too like, hey, okay. And I get that's kind of what Bill and Ted were back in the 80s, but I feel like people don't like the 80s, the classic 80s surfer dude doesn't really, it's not a stereotype today. I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe I'm over generalizing here, but I don't know, it just didn't land with me. She was a little too over the top. Same thing with Bill Sadler playing Death. He was a little bit more silly. We didn't have that grizzled kind of serious, and plus they didn't give William Sadler anything to do. This movie was a little bit of, hey, let's go back and revisit some of those characters that we really liked before. Ta-da! And they didn't give him anything to do. His part in the story really he contributed very little, if anything, to the story, to the plot. And yeah, I don't know. It was across the board. I didn't care for the acting. It wasn't the worst acting in the world. It just didn't land for me. So that's why acting, I'm going to give it 6 out of 20. All right, let's move on to directing. The directing, I can't remember who directed it. I actually was pleasantly surprised with how decent the directing of the film was. We'll talk about the writing in a minute, but the writing didn't really give him anything to do. He relied heavily on green screen. This entire film felt like it was filmed on green screen, and it's blatantly obvious. The lighting was a little off. Having said that, the visuals were actually really cool. The visual effects were really good. I liked the visuals a lot. I liked the tone of the film. I thought the tone was really fun. I liked the look of the film. I liked the colors. I wasn't a huge fan of Keanu Reeves's outfit. Let's go back to his outfit for a second. Like that kind of pink salmon shirt. Earlier in the movie, he's wearing kind of like a jacket over the pink salmon shirt. And I like that look so much better than just the salmon shirt and pants. I don't know. I feel like it wasn't a bad job directing. It also wasn't anything revolutionary. He relied a little bit too much on green screen, or a lot too much on green screen. And the directing of how he wanted some of the characters to play out, I wasn't thrilled with. But it wasn't terrible. The pacing was good. Like I said, the tone was good. The editing I thought was fine. So for all those reasons, I'm giving directing a 15 out of 20. All right, so let's talk writing. This was easily the worst part of the movie. The writing of Bill and Ted Face the Music was, like I said before, it was kind of a journey through memory lane. It was, and again, I love the concept. The concept of the film worked for me. It was a brilliant premise to start the movie. It's 25 years later. You still have yet to write the song that's supposed to unite the universe. That's a heavy burden to lay on someone's shoulders. My problem with this is that they didn't go anywhere with it. They didn't really do anything. There was a wonderful resolve at the end. I like how the movie ended. I thought it was really clever. I don't know if it was clever, but it felt right. It was not consistent with the first two films, though. If I tell you what the inconsistency was, it is going to spoil the ending of the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, then it will most definitely spoil the ending. So all I'm going to say is that the end of the movie, even though I liked it, was not consistent with Bill and Ted 1 and 2. With everything that they'd been building up. It just didn't make sense. And I think they just kind of didn't care. They were like, well, this is a better ending. This is a better theme. So let's end it here, instead of trying to make everything make sense. And I get it. It's a Bill and Ted movie. Not everything has to be perfect, but I don't know. It was one of those things that didn't land with me. They didn't give Bill and Ted anything to do. It was, let's go here and 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 let's go here. And then by the end of the film, they have done nothing. They haven't done anything. There was no character development. There was, in fact, I guess it could be argued that you could take out Bill and Ted from this story entirely, and very little would change. So, I mean, I don't know, I go back and forth, but ultimately I have to give writing a 7 out of 20. It wasn't great. Again, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. It had some really great concepts, and I like how the ending played out, but very little was coherent. They didn't give the characters anything interesting to do. The whole time it was just, even for the daughter characters, it was, hey, let's travel through time. And it didn't make sense. Why are the daughters just okay with time travel? Have they time traveled in the past? They never addressed that. And that was really frustrating to me. Anyway, let's go on to the takeaway. Takeaway of the film, again, dealing with the bigger concepts of the film, of it's 25 years later, you haven't done what you were told that you were destined to do, and now you have to deal with that, kind of almost the fallout of that and the weight that carries on your shoulders. I think it's a brilliant concept. I've said this 10,000 times before. It's a brilliant concept. The message of the film, again, I can't tell you the message of the film because it would give away the ending. The message of the film, I thought, was really, it was really charming. It was sweet. And it's relevant to today's world. It is relevant to today's world. So there was a lot of takeaways from this film that were positive and inspiring and things that I can totally get behind. And that's why I give the takeaway an 18 out of 20. It was great. I loved it. Okay, so the overall effectiveness. How effective was this film? Did it hit the mark? How collaborative were all the processes? I'm going to say not really. kind of, not really. It could have been so much better. Again, they didn't have any character development between, like, anyone. It was, hey, we'll introduce this character, and oh yeah, the wives are there. This is the last time we're ever gonna have a chance to see the wives or the girl. Yeah, I guess at this point it's the princesses. This is the last time we're ever gonna see the princesses. So I guess we need to give them something to do. It was kind of a waste of time. And I hate to say that because I love Bill and Ted. I was really looking forward to this. It didn't land, in my opinion, where I think the filmmakers or the studio or even the writers or Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves wanted it to land. I think this film had a chance for a real impact, but because of the shoddy writing and the lack of interesting things to give the characters to do, I don't think it landed as well as they had hoped. Again, it's not a train wreck. It wasn't terrible. It's not an unenjoyable watch, but I just don't think that it was incredibly effective at what they wanted to do. And that's why I'm giving effectiveness a 12 out of 20. So all this together, our overall combined score is...
All right, then you asked for it. You're a wonderful guy, Oscar. You've done everything for me. If it weren't for you, I don't know what would have happened to me. You took me in here, you gave me a place to live, you gave me something to live for. I'm never gonna forget you for that, Oscar.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I am giving Bill and Ted Face the Music a 68 out of 100. It wasn't a train wreck of a film, but also it wasn't great. In my opinion, easily the worst of the Bill and Ted franchise. I wanted it to be better. I thought it was a really fun concept. It could have been great. It just wasn't. It didn't land all that well for me. I do think there are some redeeming features of this film. Again, the concept, the premise, and how the movie ends, I think are all really strong ideas. It's just everything in the middle did not play very well. So that's why I'm landing on the 68 out of 100. All right, guys, that will do it for my review of Bill and Ted Face the Music. What do you think? Do you have a very different opinion? Do you have different thoughts on Bill and Ted Face the Music? Do you think 68 out of 100 is a little too harsh? Would you go higher? Or would you go lower than 68? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts. All right, guys.